Hello everyone, Auto Champ Wandalan over here, and right next to me is the Hongqi EHS9. This is a very big surprise, everyone, because when Hongqi came to Belgium, they arrived with a massive SUV. That's right, everyone, they arrived here in Belgium with the Hongqi EHS9. It's a wonderful full-sized SUV that is electric. But I think the people at Hongqi realized that the Hongqi EHS9 was a little bit too big, and the Hongqi EHS7 would be more interesting for the EU market. Something that's about the similar size as a Mercedes GLB, the Skoda Elroq. Well, is that the dimension I see over here? And for a price of 55,000 euros, already this does look like it's worth more than 55,000 euros, guys. But if I'm being honest, I quite like the Hongqi EHS9. Whereas looking at this Hongqi, already I spotted a bit of an identity crisis. The Hongqi EHS9 has a Rolls-Royce style front grille, something proud, something that stands out from a distance. Whereas this particular Hongqi EHS7 has this Tesla-like front. It's a bit like BYD and Tesla, so no front grille at all. It's all humble. You just get this nice red lining over here, which is cool, but then at the same time, I quite liked that grille they actually had for the EHS9. It feels like an average electric car trying to look all modern, trying to look all futuristic with this two-spoke steering wheel with as much simplicity as possible, but it ends up being cringy. And honestly, Hongqi is not alone in this. I've noticed many car manufacturers fall down this path. Looks like something I've seen in Harry Potter or Lord of the Rings. Now make sure you push the subscribe button already. Check the link in the description for my other car reviews of the Hongqi EHS9 and the models that compete against this Hongqi EHS7. All right, let's get on with the review right now. So now I want to talk to you all a little bit about the Hongqi brand and their approach to electric cars. The Hongqi brand is a luxury car manufacturer from China, and they've been around for many decades. And for me, it was quite a surprising revelation because I've seen their cars, but then I just never knew their cars. And it's just something really extraordinary. It's cool how they've even arrived here in Belgium. Now, Tesla built the first ever desirable electric car, but then we should admit that the Chinese car manufacturers, they caught up very quickly. I'm talking about Chinese car manufacturers like BYD, Hongqi, Xpeng. There are many car manufacturers that have just entered Belgium, everyone, and it's very exciting development. Now, when it comes to the Hongqi brand, they got off on a really good start, but there was a bit of a hiccup right there. They released the Hongqi EHS9, which is gorgeous, beautiful, but I had the pleasure of test driving one, and I have to say it was a little too big. It was a bit unwieldy, if you know what I'm saying. Unwieldy in the sense it feels like you're wearing an oversized suit that doesn't really fit you. At least that was just my perspective when I test drove it. So it seems like the guys at Hongqi decided, it's a little too big. It's like a land yacht. So we need to downsize this to something a bit more city friendly, something a bit more appealing, something that can pick a fight with Volvo, the Volkswagen Group, and of course other competitors in the EU market. So they released this, the Hongqi EHS7. I can't believe I just said Honda, I mean Hongqi. My apologies, everyone. But this is where I have a little bit of a problem. The Hongqi EHS9 was a real Hongqi. You could see the consistency at every angle. If you look at the exterior, you see the sharp edges. If we look at the interior, we see the sharp edges. It definitely has the consistency you'd expect for an ultra luxury car manufacturer. The problem I see is the lack of consistency. And this is the same problem many car manufacturers have suffered when they try to answer the electric car question. Some of the car manufacturers made this mistake of thinking, oh, we have to look futuristic. We have to look like what we've seen in Hollywood movies. So massive touch screens and having things as digital as much as possible and soft touch buttons and everything. When it comes to the Hongqi EHS7, it's just like every electric car of today. Digital, round edge everywhere, trying to look all futuristic. Yeah. Now I want to start with the front design. It is true, I'm a bit upset with the fact that they abandoned the Rolls-Royce style grille, although maybe it could be different for every Hongqi model to give them a unique identity. I can fully respect that. The headlights look quite similar though to what I've seen on the Hongqi EHS9, so that's fair enough. Now I have to confess that the design of the wheel is cool. I know very well that this part, which looks like a 3-spoke, is actually a hubcap. It's plastic. It's something you can remove to have access to the bolts. It's great. And then you have the red caliper, which in my opinion is a little bit random. Why have a red caliper on something that's as humble as a Hongqi EHS7? Approaching the side of this Hongqi EHS9, it has a little bit of a generic image, everyone. From certain angles, it's making me think of BMW, because of the design just right at the edge over here. And then at the same time, it's making me think of something Mazda built. I'm not sure which Mazda model I'm thinking of exactly, but some Mazda crossover SUV at least. Door. Now the sound of the door is quite interesting compared to my experience with other Chinese car manufacturers. It has this rather boom sound. It has this boom sound to it. Like, listen carefully. It sounds like something more solid, something well built, guys. The rear doors have a metallic effect in the sound, if you listen carefully. It has a lighter sounding tone compared to the front doors. Towards the rear, there's something quite unique, and it's something I've rarely seen in the cars of today, everyone. You get this consistent slope over here, and it's quite rare that I've seen car manufacturers actually come up with this despite being called crossback. And it's quite interesting. You get this continuous rear light and then some interesting design for the rear lights as well. Now, because the rear windows are not tinted, you can actually see exactly what you've got in the boot without even having to open it, guys. This is quite flexible. It's kind of like an estate wagon. This is very flexible. Just too bad you cannot open the window. There's no means of opening this window separately. You have to open the entire door. Over to the interior of the Hongqi EHS7, I have to say, it feels just like other electric cars of today, and it's like, it's okay, let's start on a positive note, actually. It's very comfortable. I like how you get this whole area that cocoons you, and for a price of 55,000 euros, it is quite rare that you get a car manufacturer that gives you this much luxury, guys. The material over here, the armrest, it's really, really nice. It definitely feels like a car worth 100,000 euros, basically. That's the feel I get, and this is what signifies great value for money. And then I like this thing over here. Again, as I jokingly said earlier, it kind of reminds me of something I've seen in Harry Potter or Lord of the Rings. I don't know. It's like something for me to have my wish come through. Not sure. I like the idea of the interior. I think it is very interesting what Hongqi was trying. But then on the other side of the scale, it feels like it's suffering the same problem as some electric car manufacturers, and that being that they lean onto this belief that we have to be as modern looking as possible. We have to be all futuristic looking with as much gadgets as possible, have everything on the touchscreen. And I'm not saying this about Hongqi alone, guys. I want to repeat, I'm saying this about many electric car manufacturers. They've gone down the same path of thinking, oh, we have to be modern and everything. And this is where I start to think that they've kind of compromised on their identity in favor of, well, technology maybe. Now, when it comes to practicality, many car manufacturers also compromised on it. Whereas in the case of the Chinese car manufacturers, they've been able to hold ground there. So when we look at practicality solutions, I get a shallow door bin, which is okay. 2 cup holders, which are sat right here in the middle. Okay, it looks like a bit of an afterthought, no problem. I think this is a wireless telephone recharge. It's just right here in the middle. But the material over here, they kept for a trim. It kind of reminds me of something I've seen in kitchens. That's cute. Then I get some extra storage space underneath with some charging ports. Then storage space right over here, just like what you expect in a Mercedes. The steering wheel, though, is something about it I'm not exactly a fan of, and the fact that it's not exactly a circle. It's got this oval shape to it, and I'm not a fan of this idea. I like circular steering wheels. End of story, guys. But otherwise, the feel is good. It's leather wrapped, but then it's just not as interesting as that of the Volkswagen Group or so. When it comes to the infotainment system, it is good. It gets the job done. But don't expect so much out of it compared to BMW, and the Volkswagen Group, because these two guys, they offer better details on their infotainment system, including Mercedes. They offer better details. But then Hongqi infotainment systems, they get the job done. That's at least it. And they also get a... And I think you get this little robot that talks to you. It's kind of like your ChatGPT for the car, or your co-pilot for the car, quote unquote, you know, co-pilot ChatGPT. I'm not trying to say that this guy is associated with AI, ChatGPT or co-pilot, but it's kind of like your guy to talk to if you have any questions regarding your car, I think. I'm not sure. And then you get your little digital instrument cluster. Now, to be honest, I've noticed this across the Geely group as well. Like, I've noticed Lotus, Volvo, and Polestar, they've been obsessed with this small instrument cluster with almost little to no details. Just it'll show your speed, it'll show you your warning lights, and that's it. Now, I do not like this concept, if I'm being honest. I think it's better what BMW is doing and what Audi is also still doing. They keep the infotainment system as the same way as it used to be for many decades. But then at the same time, I get the idea. They want to keep this area simple for better visibility outside. The less details over here, the more you can concentrate on the road ahead. I can understand the idea here. Now, over to the rear seats of the Hongqi EHS9, it definitely looks like it's something from an ultra luxury car manufacturer. I mean, the seats look like a sofa, quite literally. I opened the rear door and it looks like a door from a limousine, quite literally, because the door is quite long. That's very impressive, guys. And it's not very often you see this for a car of 55,000 euros, let alone electric. Now, sitting on the rear seats of this Hongqi EHS7, it feels like my experience in Tesla cars and certain Volkswagen Group cars, like especially the ID models. It's so spacious, and with this panoramic roof, the visibility outside is beyond good. Wow. And I get this nice armrest over here with some storage space inside, but there's no cup holder. But I like the concept over here. It's quite nice, and it's squidgy material on top, but on the side it's quite firm. Okay, interesting what's going on. For the rear seat passengers, there's no cup holder whatsoever, but that should not be a problem if you don't prioritize traveling long distances with this car. Otherwise, backseat pocket is nice. Charging port over there. Door bin is good, but don't expect too much in terms of practicality. Although you will be glad to know you get heated rear seats as well. And you can open both windows from both sides, guys. So it's... oh wow, this is great. So it's kind of like a limousine. Now, to open the boot door, you have to push the button right here, but press it for at least a second or at least 2 seconds. All right, 1. Now, over to the boot space, I'm a bit surprised by the space because the exterior looks quite promising, but then as you look into the boot space, it's first of all very shallow. It's despite the height, there's no, it's not deep at all. And you get tether points on the side, which is great, but I don't see any 12-volt socket anywhere. Well, okay, the 12-volt socket is on that side. Okay, fair enough. But it's just, I mean, if I look at this boot space, it feels like I'm looking at the boot space of something like an Audi A4 or something like an Audi A5. And for the size of this electric crossover SUV, I was expecting it to be a bit more spacious. So here's my conclusion of the Hongqi EHS7. We can all agree that the Hongqi EHS9 was a little bit too big. So the Hongqi EHS7 came at the right time to save the Hongqi brand and to help the Hongqi EHS9. Oh my gosh, I have a lot of numbers and alphabets to pronounce right here. But the point is, and me personally, I'm quite optimistic for Hongqi because there are many customers here in the EU market who will purchase these kind of electric cars as company vehicles. And this is the case for the Volvo brand and for the Polestar brand, for the Tesla brand, for many electric car manufacturers, irrespective of what I have to say. Now, I have my own reservations. I have my own opinion, everyone. Now, I am optimistic for Hongqi. This is going to sell very well. At least that's what I hope. But then at the same time, I have my opinions and my doubts about the design. You see, I'm not quite impressed with what Hongqi did here, because when I looked at the EHS9, it screams value for money and it screams luxury. It looks awesome, especially for a price that's not so expensive compared to your average full-sized luxury SUV. And if it were electric, we'd probably be looking at 150,000 euros. Whereas with the Hongqi EHS9, we're only looking at less than 100,000 euros, at least for starting price. Now, the question to ask yourself, is this an ideal company car? The answer is yes. If you want a car of 55,000 euros that feels luxurious and that feels like it's worth more than what its price tag suggests, this car is definitely for you, okay? Then on the other side of the scale, if you have to choose a company car and you really want something that makes you look cool and something that has the style to it, an identity to it, This is where the Hongqi EHS7 is a bit questionable, in my opinion at least. So don't forget to like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more videos that are on the run, and I will see you all next time. Check the link in the description for my other car reviews of other Hongqi models and of course the competitors of the Hongqi EHS7.